Hey guys, Chris Superfast RC, and today I'm giving you an update on my budget Xray XT8 that I picked up on eBay for 150 bucks. So this truck's been my main truggy for the entire year. You know, I don't race super competitively. I'm racing at a club level, sportsman racing, you know, nothing fancy. I did race in a trophy race a while back. I accidentally, my motor died. I was running a Castle Creations old school motor, and I bought it used, and I don't know the origins of the motor. Anyways, it demagged on me in one of the heats, and I was out. But that is what it is. I've got another motor here, and I need to install it, but I just haven't had the time. Just wanted to give you an update on the platform as a whole. So if you get into something like this, you'll know what to expect, right? So $150 got me the nitro roller. I had to go in and purchase the electric conversion kit, which includes the motor mount, sliding motor mount. I have the other piece out because, like I said, I'm changing motors currently. The servo mount and receiver box. It comes with the battery tray and something else I forget, but those are your core electric components, and that's what they're going to give you in the kit, and that's about 130 bucks, I believe. So we're about 280 bucks into this kit as it sits. So the rest of the stuff I pretty much had laying around, guys. So the ESC is Mama Monster 2. I know, not super racy ESC. I don't care. Like I said, I'm racing at a club level in the sportsman class, so that's not super big for me. In truggy, bigger tires, it actually smooths it out even further. So you don't really notice. I mean, you do notice it, but the sensorless operation is not that big of a hindrance for me, at least. What else have I changed? I am in the process of changing out the center differential. The center differential gear on the Nitro, at least this kit came with a 50 tooth, which is a little big, and you can kind of see it's eating at over here, it's eating at the battery tray a tiny bit. Not super big deal. I've got a 46 tooth XB8 differential package I'm fixing to throw in here. Still steel spur, but definitely going to help with gearing and get that gear ratio down a little bit lower so I can get a little bit more top end speed. It's definitely with a new motor because I'm putting a 1700 Tekin motor in here to kind of get that gearing up to compensate for the lower KV. But that's going to be great because it's going to take away this eating at the battery tray problem. So going from a 50 to a 40 tooth, 46 tooth is definitely going to help. And another thing I will say on the Xray XB8, this one, or XT8, it has a high capacity differential. Xray parts, as you know, mostly are super expensive. So my main channel for parts is going to be eBay, people that are parting out kits, used rollers. So a lot of stuff from RC Waffles, sellers like that. It is what it is, guys. You got to take what you can find. A new spur gear for this kit truck right here with the high capacity diff is around $60, and that's just too much for a budget build. And a lot of that, this being an Xray and budget, doesn't make a lot of sense. But Xrays are super durable if you know how to fix their weaknesses, kind of. So let me talk to you about the weaknesses of the kit, and we've gone over this a little bit before. But the front hubs on the XT8 design with the C-hub right here, these are bona fide weaknesses. They kind of crack and then they'll give way. Kind of this one has already cracked. I'm kind of limping it along here with some super glue. I've got spares, but I'm trying to get the most out of them. They're about $6 a piece. You can get them on eBay. But it's just something you got to keep in mind. Also, it comes with plastic spindles right here, or what are these called? Bearing carriers, steering blocks. They're plastic out of the box. So it's just one of those things. It's got a metal insert for this grub screw here, or this M4 button head cap screw. But they do pull out if you don't Loctite them well, and they will strip out if you hit something hard enough. So having a whole aluminum piece here really goes a long way into increasing that durability just that little bit more. So I would highly recommend, if you're going to keep these plastic hubs and not go for the super heavy duty aluminum setup they have, they do offer it. It's $260. That costs more than what I'm into for this whole dang thing nearly, right? So yeah, I went this way. you know, the aluminum thing does promise more steering, and this truck does need more mid corner and exit steering on it, and I'm working on that. I'm going to lighten up my front differential a little bit to kind of get that tuned. But yeah, other than that, car's been super durable. Xray, if you don't shim your diffs correctly, you will have problems with your pinion gear wearing out prematurely. And I did encounter that in the rear diff. Whoever built the kit before me did not shim the rear diff correctly. And I'm going to pull it out for you now. I have the part. I believe I've seen it recently. I'm trying and find it so I can show you. Here it is. So it's not terrible, but it just made a noise going down this track that I didn't really care for. You can see it right there. It's not bad. I mean, I could put this back in there in a pinch. But I had a new one. They're cheap. I picked one up. Somebody had a part slot at the track, kind of a swap meet kind of deal. Had a whole bag of Xray parts, just miscellaneous Xray parts. They said, hey, I see you got an Xray. Why don't you go through it? It was a bunch of old XB8 parts from like 2007 and like 2009, right before they went to the 808. But a lot of the parts cross-reference to this kit because this C-hub setup is the same that came on that old car. I mean, the whole platform here is not that much different from the first XT8. The first XT8 had front upper arms. It didn't have this turnbuckle setup. I think it was actually a little bit more durable than this one is, but this one is going to handle better. But yeah, a lot of the parts do cross-reference with the older models. So if you're looking on a budget, dude, make sure you cross-reference the parts because you might find a part super cheap and it might be the exact same part that actually goes on this kit. If you pick it from A-Main for 30 bucks, you might get it for 10 on eBay because, you know, the guy that's selling it's like, oh, it's for a 15-year-old buggy and it fits your XT8 and you can get it at a very reasonable price. So look out for that with this kit. Other than that, anything I've broken, I have broken, like I said, the front hubs. I've replaced them. Haven't had an issue since I've changed them out to aluminum hubs, spindles. Somebody did plow into me going down the straightaway. New guy at the track. Didn't know which way he was going, I guess. But he plowed into me, broke this upper rod end here. It's okay. I had a spare, and I think it's for an old Associated buggy, in my pit box. So I just threaded it on there and it's been fine. I haven't changed it out any since. Since then. So no big deal, right? I did go ahead and convert to a bruggy body. So this is the lead finger racing bruggy body for the XT8. I think it looks pretty good, guys. Definitely wider because the platform is pretty wide. But I like it. Definitely less wear on a body than you would have a truggy body, and it handles a little bit differently. And I think the regional race I raced this at, I switched to the bruggy body that day, and I think that was a little bit, I should have practiced with it beforehand. But definitely changes the handling characteristics of the car in the air. I will say that a lot, but in a good way. You just got to know how to hang on to it versus the standard body. Anything else I've broken on the kit? Not really, guys. Like I said, I changed out the rear pinion gear just to quiet the car down. Haven't had any issues with CVAs or universals. No plastics have broken on it, except for that piece. But you know, somebody ran into me. Can't blame the car for that, right? The bottom side, when I got it, it was a lot nicer than this. So I put a lot of time into this chassis. And I'm going to keep it. I plan on racing it next year unless Associated decides to come out with the T4. But the cricket's there. So good quality chassis. Xray, as always, super expensive if you need to replace it. But hopefully you don't have to, right? So what am I in this car for? So like I said, car, 150 bucks. Came with a set of tires. They weren't really useful tires. They were some Duratrax lockdowns or whatever. Basically basher tires. Came with a nitro body that hadn't been painted, so I painted that thing up. I used it for a couple races and threw it out. Like I said, I bought the electric conversion kit, which was 130 bucks, so we're in about 280, right? Yeah, about 280 there. I did recently buy the center differential with the smaller spur gear for the XB8. That cost me $39, so 40 bucks there. So we're looking about 320. Anything else? The bodies. This was 40 bucks, but I ended up getting it free because I had credits. So I'm not going to count that, but if you do count it, so we're at 320, 360 now. And I had the electronics, had the servos. Yeah. So if you want to count batteries and electronics, you know, you could be about $500 with if you had to outfit this thing completely, about 500 bucks. But guys, the MSRP for a typical Truggy, just the kit, you run around $600. Xray's over 700. But if I were to go brand new, I wouldn't go with Xray. Like I said, I'd go with Associate, or I'd go with a TLR or a Kyosho, something that's a little bit more reasonable on, you know, parts and part support for sure. Xray's getting pretty good on part support over the years. I used to run Xray in the old days. Part support was pretty poor, but I think now that their driver network's kind of expanded into the US, they're a lot more into the dirt side of things, especially with Testman running for them. Their part support with RC America, I think RC America didn't even used to have a website, guys. You had to, you know, get the book and call and order the part from RC America. Now they've got a website, it works, you can order parts up. If they're not on A-Main or whatever, if your local shop doesn't have anything. For a budget build, guys, I did pretty good. And I think this is a good testament to show that you don't have to have the latest and greatest kit out there. This is a 2017 edition of the Nitro car. Well, now it's an electric car, but the 2017 Nitro edition, electric edition. The newer cars do have better steering geometry, so you're going to get a little bit more steering out of it. But I think with the right amount of tuning, which I haven't had time to do, I need to lighten up the front diff and see if I can fix my mid-corner and exit steering problems. It just turns so wide off power. But like I said, that's my tuning problem that I need to address. Nothing to do with the car. Yeah. Would I do it again? Absolutely. Truggy is just one of those things. If you drive buggy and you've always driven buggy, you've never tried a Truggy, I think you should try it. Basically, it's a big buggy, guys. So super stable. You can send it a lot harder than you can with a buggy, because the buggy's got smaller tires. You're going to get out of control easier. The Truggy, it's got a lot more traction and wider. You can just hammer it on, send it super high, send it faster out of corners, send it faster into corners because you can slam on the brakes. You got to be careful so you don't roll it because they have so much traction with the big tires that the back end of it here likes to pick up. But you just got to practice with it. If you're, you know, coming from buggy, practice with it 1 or 2 days and then take it to a race, and you'll be amazed how much fun you can have with Truggy. Where buggy is one of those things, you know, you get nervous, you know, because you're racing against a bunch of guys with a bunch of other buggies, and they're all, you know, they got skill, and you're going to go up there and you're in a race with them, and y'all are all so close because all the buggy platforms are so close nowadays, guys. It's almost even slate if you're got a good setup, you know. But with the Truggy, it's like, it is what it is. I mean, you go out there, you do terrible, but it's a lot easier to drive a Truggy. So my bet is you're going to do better with this than you will with the buggy. Now, I'm not knocking buggy. I love buggy. I race buggy. But a Truggy is just one of those things where you can kind of relax. You can send it. You don't have to be as, you know, sweaty on the wheel. And you're going to have a great time. So would I recommend picking up a used Truggy like this, going through it? Hopefully, you know, if you know what you're looking for in the ad, the for sale ad, or at the swap meet, and you look at it and you see, oh, those drive pins look pretty clean. They're not super worn down. Those gears don't look super rough. The shocks don't look terrible. I mean, this one looks a little weird. Like I said, I think it's set next to some pool chemicals or a water softener for a long time to get that discoloration that's going on with the metals. But it doesn't affect performance, guys, at all. Haven't had any metal breakage on this car. Yeah, guys, do it. I would think that you should try a budget build in your RC career. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. This has been my review of the XT8E 2017, 2018, 2019 amalgamation I have here, and gets a thumbs up from me. Just like I said, be careful on your parts pricing. They can get super expensive if you don't search out for parts. If you just go to RC America or AMain and buy your parts, this thing's going to bankrupt you if you have a lot of worn out parts. Like I said, do your homework, know what to look for on a used roller, and be careful. Other than that, plug it in, have fun. Thanks for watching, guys. It's been Chris Superfast RC, and we'll see you in the next one. All right, bye-bye.